The evening sky over Maplewood, Illinois was painted in shades of lavender and gold as Daniel Rivers, a quiet 28-year-old who worked long shifts at a downtown bookstore, slouched into the worn-out armchair in his small apartment. His apartment wasn't glamorous. Second-hand furniture, a flickering lamp in the corner, but tucked on the shelf was something that had been pulling at his curiosity for weeks. A wooden puzzle box, carved with strange symbols, sat waiting. He had bought it impulsively from an eccentric street vendor who claimed, with a mischievous grin, "This box doesn't just open. It changes you." Daniel had laughed it off as marketing nonsense. But deep down, the words stuck to him like glue. He had always loved puzzles, crosswords, riddles, escape rooms, but this box felt different. It wasn't just a toy or a collectible. It felt personal, almost as though it had been meant for him. Still, with work and life weighing him down, he hadn't touched it. Until tonight. Daniel set the cube-shaped box on his lap. Its surface was smooth, but oddly warm, like it held a pulse of its own. Each side bore intricate patterns that didn't seem to repeat, no matter how long he studied them. He pressed one symbol, and the box gave a faint click, as though acknowledging him. Finally, he muttered under his breath, a nervous smile tugging at his lips. The air in the room felt heavier. He turned the box once, then twice, hearing faint shifting sounds within. Then, unexpectedly, a piece slid open, revealing a sliver of parchment tucked inside. Daniel frowned, pulling it free. Written in elegant handwriting were the words, "To unlock yourself, you must first lose yourself." He blinked. What was that supposed to mean? Unlock himself? Lose himself? It sounded like something from an old fairy tale. Shaking his head, he tucked the parchment back in and kept working at the box. Just as he started to piece another side together, his front door rattled with a knock, startling him. He jumped, nearly dropping the box. "Danny, you in there?" came a familiar voice. It was Sophie, his 21-year-old cousin. Spirited, bold, and always charging through life at full speed, she had a way of barging in uninvited. She pushed the door open before he could even respond, carrying a bag of takeout. "Surprise dinner," she announced, kicking the door shut behind her. Her eyes landed on the box instantly. "Oh, what's that? Some nerdy antique again?" Daniel flushed. "It's just a puzzle box. Thought I'd give it a try." Sophie plopped onto his couch, peering at it curiously. "Looks creepy. Like something out of a horror movie. Please tell me it doesn't summon ghosts." Daniel chuckled, but a tiny voice inside whispered that maybe Sophie wasn't entirely wrong. They ate together, Sophie chatting about her college life, while Daniel half listened, his mind drifting back to the box. After dinner, Sophie finally asked, "Can I try it?" Daniel hesitated. He hadn't wanted to share it. Something about it felt too personal. But Sophie's eyes gleamed with the same spark of curiosity he'd seen in his own earlier. "Fine. But be careful," he said, handing it over. She twisted it once, then twice. Suddenly the box let out a sharp click, louder than before. Both froze. The carved symbols on its surface began to glow faintly, a soft bluish light spreading like veins across the wood. Danny?" Sophie's voice trembled. "It's not supposed to do that, right?" Before he could answer, the glow flared bright, blinding, and the room felt like it had tilted sideways. For a split second, Daniel's reflection in the darkened TV screen didn't look like him at all. Softer jawline. Narrower shoulders. Different. He blinked hard, shaking his head. The glow faded. Everything looked normal again. Or so it seemed. Daniel's pulse raced. He had the distinct feeling that the box had just tested him. And, whatever it had started, wasn't finished yet. Daniel barely slept that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw that flicker of a different face in the TV screen. His heart told him it was real, but his rational mind tried to insist it was just exhaustion playing tricks. By morning, the puzzle box sat on his nightstand like a predator waiting to pounce. Its carvings no longer glowed, but Daniel couldn't shake the sense that it was watching him. Dragging himself out of bed, Daniel shuffled into the bathroom. He splashed water on his face, grabbed a towel, and finally looked up into the mirror. His breath caught. At first glance, Everything looked the same, but then he noticed subtle differences. His cheekbones looked sharper, his lips fuller, his skin smoother, almost luminous in the morning light. He leaned closer, gripping the sink. No. No way. He blinked rapidly, even slapped his cheek. But the reflection stayed. It was him. And yet, it wasn't. The knock on the door came again, of course. Sophie. Daniel panicked, fumbling with his hoodie before opening the door a crack. Morning, zombie, Sophie chirped, balancing 2 coffees. You look weirdly fresh today. Did you actually sleep? Daniel forced a laugh. Yeah, something like that. He took the coffee, trying not to let his hands shake. Sophie flopped onto his couch like she owned the place. Her eyes, sharp and mischievous, darted to the puzzle box. Okay, I couldn't stop thinking about that thing last night. I Googled it. Daniel's stomach dropped. You what? Yep. Apparently, puzzle boxes like that show up in, like, old European folklore. They were supposed to reveal your true self. Whatever that means. Daniel froze. True self. His reflection this morning. Sophie smirked. So? You crack it open yet? Sprout angel wings? Secret treasure map? Come on, Danny, don't keep me hanging. Daniel sat beside her, staring at the box. The urge to pick it up was unbearable. Against his better judgment, he lifted it and twisted one of the glowing panels. Click. The box shifted again, this time sliding open another compartment. Inside was a small, delicate silver key. It was so fine it looked like it could snap in half, yet the moment Daniel touched it, his chest tightened as if the key was tugging at something inside him. What's that supposed to open? Sophie whispered. Daniel didn't answer. Because he already knew. Almost without thinking, Daniel walked back into the bathroom. Sophie followed close behind, muttering about horror movies and cursed objects. He held the key up to the mirror. Ridiculous. And yet, the keyhole appeared, right there in the glass, glowing faintly like a door begging to be opened. Sophie gasped. No freaking way. Daniel slid the key in. Turned it. The mirror shimmered like rippling water, and in its surface, he didn't see his current reflection. He saw her, the softer, unfamiliar version of himself he glimpsed the night before. Her eyes wide. Her lips trembling. Almost like she was trying to step out into the room. Daniel staggered back, heart racing. Sophie clutched his arm, eyes wide with disbelief. Danny, what if that's not just a reflection? What if that's you? Daniel didn't answer. Because deep down, he already feared Sophie might be right. Daniel's hands trembled as he stared at the mirror. The girl in the reflection wasn't fading this time. Her expression seemed alive, her eyes starting nervously, like she knew he was watching. Sophie squeezed his arm. Danny, say something. She's you, right? Daniel swallowed hard. I don't know. I mean, it can't be. It's impossible. The reflection tilted her head at the exact same time he did. And yet, it wasn't a perfect mimicry. There was hesitation. Choice. Like she was no longer bound to his movements. The mirror shimmered again, and Daniel felt his chest tighten. A warmth spread through him, deep and insistent, like invisible strings tugging him forward. His reflection extended a hand toward him, and to his horror and awe, the glass rippled outward like water. Danny, don't. Sophie cried, grabbing his sleeve. But it was too late. His fingertips brushed hers. The surge was electric. His knees buckled as heat washed through every part of him, rewriting something unseen. His reflection smiled, a bittersweet, fragile smile, as if welcoming him home. When the glass stilled again, Daniel stumbled back into the bathroom. He felt different. Lighter. But when he looked at the mirror, the reflection hadn't returned to normal. The girl still stared back. And this time, she looked more real than him. Danny, Sophie's voice quivered. Your hair, it's longer? Daniel spun to face her. She wasn't wrong. Strands brushed against his cheek where none had been before. His jawline was softer, his shoulders narrower. Panic clawed at his chest. This isn't happening, he whispered. Sophie grabbed his shoulders. Look at me. It is happening. And I think that box didn't just pick you randomly. It picked you because maybe this is who you've always been underneath. Daniel shook his head, fighting back tears. No, I never, this isn't. But his voice cracked mid-sentence. Higher, lighter. Not his usual voice at all. The puzzle box, still sitting on the counter, emitted a low hum. Its carvings pulsed faintly, as if alive. Daniel picked it up with shaking hands, and another compartment opened on its own, revealing a thin strip of parchment. It read, "Step through or stay divided." Sophie leaned over his shoulder, reading aloud. Step through what? The mirror. Daniel glanced at the glowing glass, where the reflection, no, the girl, was now reaching out again, silently pleading. For the first time, Daniel wondered if she wasn't a stranger at all. Maybe she was the part of himself he had locked away for years. And now, the box was giving him a choice. The hum of the puzzle box filled the bathroom, soft yet insistent, like a heartbeat echoing in Daniel's ears. His reflection, her reflection, extended her hand again, pleading with silent eyes that mirrored his own fear and longing. Sophie's grip on his arm tightened. Danny, wait. If you step through that thing, what if you can't come back? Daniel's throat was dry, but the words spilled out before he could stop them. What if I don't want to come back? The admission shocked him more than it did Sophie. He had been fighting the truth, but deep inside, that other version of himself had felt right, too right to ignore. With trembling fingers, Daniel pressed the silver key to the mirror again. The glass shimmered, rippling like liquid light. Sophie gasped, but didn't stop him this time. She only whispered, just, please don't get lost. Daniel reached forward. The surface was cool, almost welcoming, pulling him in like an embrace. With one last look at Sophie's pale face, he stepped forward. And the world bent around him. When the dizziness faded, Daniel opened his eyes. He wasn't in his bathroom anymore. Instead, he stood in a vast, dreamlike chamber. Walls of shifting crystal reflected infinite versions of him, her, both Daniel and not Daniel, flickering between forms. Each reflection whispered, voices overlapping in a haunting chorus. To be whole, you must choose. Daniel staggered forward, staring at one reflection that remained steady, the girl. She looked so real, her long hair framing her delicate face, her eyes brimming with hope. Who are you? He whispered. Her lips curved in a faint smile. I'm you. The you've hidden.